Hi everybody, these are our intro videos so you can kind of get to know Jeremiah and myself. This one's for Jeremiah's episode. You're going to get to know him a little bit more. That way you can have some context moving forward with all of the interviews that we do.
Get to know your boy.
Get to know your boy. What's goody?
What's goody?
Jeremiah Rivers, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm super excited to do this.
Me too, man. I'm excited.
We spoke it into fruition.
We did. Spoke it into existence.
Pretty quickly too. It was pretty wild.
We haven't had enough time to think about it.
You know, what's funny is the questions that I have to ask you, I don't know the answers to all of them. So same as you guys, I get to learn a little bit more about you and
Yeah.
your background. And I mean, we've been friends for 6 years now.
6 years.
And I still things I get to
We're past service level
unpack.
at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're past service level. We've gone deep.
we have though. So that's kind of why we decided to start this. We just had incredible conversations with people in our lives, and we felt like they were impactful enough to share them with people.
Yeah, I think we want to champion the people we find inspiring, the people that, we even in some ways not only have relationships with, but look up to, or that we truly value their opinion, their expertise, and what they do. And it's going to be across all different fields. So I'm excited to get into it with them and learn more about them and have our viewers and audience get to be more involved with who they are.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy our guest list as much as I do. Okay, so this is your episode. What are you named after? Jeremiah is a strong name.
Yeah.
Why did your parents choose that?
Came more from my dad's side. It's a biblical name. My grandparents grew up Baptist, church 4 times a week.
Whoa.
I feel like that was kind of maybe wanting to be instilled in some way or represented in some way through the firstborn child, which I am. And every kid has been baptized at the same church in Chicago, West Side, in Maywood Baptist Church.
Were you born in Chicago?
No. I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And all the kids have been born in different cities, different states, which is crazy.
Okay, so
Yeah.
like where did you really grow up then?
Everywhere. I mean, wherever my dad's job was. I mean, I did first 4 years of my life Atlanta, then 2 years in Los Angeles.
Really?
Yep, and then New York, and then from New York to San Antonio to Orlando, and Orlando to Boston. And that was pretty much my childhood, adolescence, up until I went to college.
Okay, so where's home? Out of those places, is it Boston or is it
It's Florida. Yeah, it's in Winter Park, Florida.
So is that where you went to high school?
Went to high school, went to Winter Park High School, because when my dad's job got moved to Boston, we were in high school, and we were rooted already. And
So you never moved to Boston?
Not full time. We moved and spent a lot of time there, weeks and weeks at a time in some cases, but school year was in Winter Park, Florida.
When you were in Florida, I want to talk about like when you went to college, but you were one of the top basketball players in the country.
Yeah, coming out of high school, I was.
Right?
I was
Like
one of the
top 10
Yeah,
in the country.
in the country.
And who else was in your class? Like
Ty Lawson, Greg Oden, Mike Conley. I mean,
Lefty Conley?
Mike Conley. Yeah,
No way.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And you were like
incredibly
where
talented.
out of all them where were you ranked?
I mean, I was within the top 10 with them.
Okay, so you went to Georgetown.
Went to Georgetown. Yeah, I played with John Thompson Jr. We had one of the best teams in the country. We were ranked, I think, top 5 in the nation. We had everybody on our team was good. I had Jeff Green, 13, 14, 15-year NBA player now. Roy Hibbard, 8, 9, 10-year NBA player. And a bunch of All-Americans coming out of high school, joining Georgetown. When I was one of them, Vernon Macklin, DeJuan Summers. I mean, we were so good. And we made it to the Final Four. And that was one of the most unique experiences of my life, for sure.
So you didn't go to the championship.
And now we lost to
Who?
Greg Oden and Mike Conley,
Ohio State.
Yeah, we lost to them in the Final Four.
They were wild.
Yeah.
Did they win the national championship that year?
No, they lost to Florida, UF.
So how many years were you at Georgetown?
2 years. And then I transferred to IU to Indiana.
Why'd you transfer?
There's a bunch of reasons. Like, I didn't really fit into D.C., East Coast lifestyle. It was just so much different. I was from the South mostly. I was raised, a lot of my adolescence was between Texas and Florida. It was just a different energy, a different culture, a different weather pattern. And
You didn't like it?
I didn't really love it. And D.C. it's not for college kids. It's an adult city, man.
It's like government.
It's like government, it's politics, it's for grown people. And being like an 18, 19-year-old kid, man, just wasn't.
It's not like being in Gainesville.
No, bro.
Like where it's college.
It's
town.
college town. The town is UF.
Yeah.
And Georgetown's just a part of D.C. D.C. is beautiful, like, for sure. Great things to do in D.C., great restaurants, great culture. But for 18, 19-year-old kid coming from Florida, like, I wanted to go to somewhere to maybe a new environment where the city revolved around the college.
So how was your experience at Indiana?
We were terrible. It was a polar opposite on the court experience than what I was used to. At Georgetown, the moment I set foot in DC, we won. I mean, Big East championship, Final Four, all of that, right? Like biggest stage, like you name it, I experienced it with Georgetown. On the contrast, at IU, we were barely getting 7 wins the whole season. We were terrible. And it wasn't, for lack of not trying. We were doing our best. We weren't the most overly talented group. It was kind of a restart, if you will. The group that I was with, me, Verdell Jones, even Victor Oladipo was a part of that. Christian Wofford, Tom Pritchard was the revival of bringing Indiana back to glory,
Did you play professionally?
Played professionally overseas. Went over to Serbia.
How's that?
Serbia was really cool because I had never spent a significant amount of time overseas, and I thought Serbia and Siberia were the same thing before I was like, I'm going to Serbia. I thought it was Siberia.
I was today years old.
Yeah, pretty much.
Figuring that out.
Yeah. That was how limited my knowledge was of like anything outside of America. And I think that was a really unique inflection point for me growing and kind of expanding my horizons culturally. Serbia was amazing. I still have a bunch of friendships over there and funny enough, the team was called Mega Vizura, and on the junior team was Nikola Jokic. And I didn't know, nobody knew.
This is actually one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, nobody knew.
And guess who Nikola Jokic's favorite player was? Ding, ding, ding. You were his favorite player.
Well,
That's crazy. He's the best player in the world right now.
I was the first American who had come over to Mega Vizura and play. So when my brother went and teamed up with Nikola on the Nuggets, Nikola was more excited that I was Austin's brother. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Have you seen Nikola since?
I haven't seen him since. We didn't even know each other. I was just like the first American coming to Mega Vizura.
Bringing the Riz.
Bringing the swag. I mean, it was a time where there weren't like a vast amount of Serbian players coming out to the NBA or even collegiately. It was bubbling though. It was coming. I could see the players. I was like, man, these players are fucking good.
Like developing really
Yeah.
well.
So it was lifelong friendships I always have. And I'm so thankful for the year I spent in Serbia. And then I came back to get surgeries on my ankles and did like a whole year recovery. And I played summer league with the Knicks, went to the G League for a whole year. And it's a grind, man.
Yeah.
It's like dog days,
So when did basketball end?
Basketball ended probably 6 months after the G League. I had failed a physical initially to get.
What does
the
that
G
mean
League.
for people that like don't like my
Health
friend
physical.
Matt didn't pass his with the Bulls.
Yeah, health physical.
No contract.
Yeah, so for people who don't know, you got to pass physicals obviously before you can go play. That's heart, that's your joints, everything. And my ankles were just a mess, and they wouldn't like allow me to go out on the court and play.
So you could literally be like really, really good.
Yeah.
And not pass an ankle
and they won't put you in the court.
And no contract.
No contract. Won't put you in the courts.
So when it ended, you talked to your dad, you get counsel. Who'd you talk to about like, I'm about to hang it up?
No, I talked to my dad. He's like, so what do you want to do, man? G League team again? You want to go back overseas? And I was like, man, I'm done. I'm in too much pain. Like I have to do too much rehab before practice, after practice, off days.
It's affecting your whole quality of life.
Affecting my quality of life, exactly. And even like thinking, what about in 10, 20 years from now? What does that look like for me? I want to be healthy. And so at that point, I wasn't the same player I was anyways. I wasn't nearly as good as I was and had to kind of adjust the way I played just to even have a chance to make the NBA. And that was my lifelong goal since I was like 7 years old. And I'm still surrounded by it. My dad's still...
Yeah.
He's coaching professionally. My brother's the next hottest thing in the world.
Your brother is an assistant coach now?
Yeah, my youngest brother's an assistant coach now. Yeah, so it's just like it's always been part of my life.
That's also going to be hard, too, to go through that and then still be a really awesome older brother, which you are. Oh. Like being grateful that your brother had an 11-year NBA career, that your brother is an assistant coach, your sister's married to an NBA player. Like, it'd be really hard to see all that and then like still be the inspiring, awesome older brother that is stoked for your brothers.
Oh, that was one thing I was never willing to compromise on. Austin was the #1 player in the world in high school. There was nobody hotter than Austin. I mean, Front of Slam magazine, he was just that guy, man.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I knew. I was never going to be that jealous, hating ass older brother. I was going to have my brother's back from the moment I saw what was coming from him. I was like, yo, this kid is better than I ever was. He's got the it factor, and I'm going to support the hell out of this kid in whatever way he needs me to support him.
It's hard to do, though. Like, not everyone is
you
capable
see that.
of doing that.
Exactly. You see that, like, inner rivalries amongst kids.
Yeah. Well, like, it's great.
Nasty,
like,
I guess.
your whole family's, like, super tight with each other.
Yeah,
There are families out there where, like, their siblings don't talk. So seeing the way you interact with your brother it's inspiring for me, being an older brother, too. Like, be there for them no matter what you're going through. Just be there for them.
I was the first person he hugged when he got drafted. Like, got up. That was my dog.
You were at the table?
I was at the table.
That's
I
so
was in the
sick.
green room in New York City. We're all suited and booted, looking fresh. I got so drunk that night, by the way, like sidebar. I was so happy for Austin and my family, and it was almost like my dad passing down the torch to me and me passing down the torch to Austin. It's your turn, man. You go run further than I could ever run.
Was your dad, being who he is, hard or awesome?
Both.
Both.
I mean, I think I look at it in totality is like the biggest blessing ever. But it's not all like
Sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, exactly. Rainbows and butterflies. It's not all that
Yeah.
all the time, at least. But I grew up privileged. I grew up in an amazing family dynamic. I had a mom and dad together, living at home, raising us. I had a roof over my head. Never had to worry about having a meal in front of me. But anything basketball related, I earned. Anything basketball related, Austin earned. Anything sports related in my family, they earned.
Yeah, your family is like freak athletes.
But it's easy to point the finger and be like, oh, you only have that because of your dad.
And so for you that don't know, Jeremiah's dad is Doc Rivers, the NBA coach and NBA champion of the Boston Celtics, who's played in the NBA for
13, 14 years.
He played with like Wilkins, Hawks,
Clippers, Knicks. I mean, he played like prime blue
He was
blue
the
collar
best era
Knicks team.
of basketball.
Yeah.
The
Ewing,
best era.
Starks, Oakley,
Isaiah
Mason.
Thomas, like
Yeah.
Okay, so that's his father.
It's usually people reflecting their own insecurities or their own disapproval of you because they're too lazy to like actually do the research. Or
If they could actually do it, they wouldn't be talking about it. Okay, so LA, what brought you here?
Honestly, always had an affinity, love for music.
Okay, and so for you guys watching, this is like getting to know him. Jeremiah curates the best playlists I've ever had. I went on a motorcycle trip this summer, and I text him, and I was like, yo, I need a playlist. I've been listening to the same thing. It's been Metallica on repeat. I need you right now. Within 5 minutes, I get a text with a playlist that he literally created for me. It says Judah's Road Trip, I think is what you named
Judah's
it.
Road Trip,
Your
yeah.
playlists are crazy.
Thank
And the reason that they're good is it's not what's on the radio. So moving forward, if you continue listening to the podcast, we hope that you do. Every week in our newsletter, The Menu, you'll get a specifically curated for that episode playlist by yours truly, because he has the best music taste out of anyone.
Thank you.
Anyone
I
I've met.
love doing this.
So that's where you've always loved music, though.
Always loved music. And I was very fortunate enough to basically first week in LA get opportunities immediately. I know that doesn't happen. I was an outlier in terms of how most people's trajectories are and trying to pursue something they want to do or they love here in LA.
But that's how you get the opportunities, though. Relationships are everything.
Yeah. Then COVID hit, and then it's kind of time to think about building something of my own and creating, which is what I love to do.
So you pivot from music, and what other things are you involved with now that you're passionate about and that people can learn about you?
Yeah, honestly, creating with a creative partner of mine, Jerry May.
Shout out, Jerry. We love you.
We kind of work on different projects, whether it's like building a coffee shop together to launching clothing apparel brand to a cosmetics brand, whatever it is. It's being surrounded by people who inspire you and who are the best at what they do. So
Yeah, it's like that creative space.
yeah. I just love to create, and
So
it
is
doesn't
that,
matter
like-
what it is.
So in that creativity and the creative space, it seems like you're similar to me in the sense that you don't just want to do one thing.
Yeah, I
know?
don't know if like you can necessarily be a jack of all trades, because what's that quote? Like
Man of many trades, a master of none.
exactly. But I know my calling is to create, and so for me, like whether that's creating a podcast or creating a coffee cafe, I think it's just fully seeing those things through. And I just want to create things that inspire people to go create the next best thing. And so that's what I feel like my vision is, or my calling is personally.
I love that. So talking about like in that creative space, in terms of us like starting in Good Company and everything, what was this like? What stemmed you wanting to create it, and why did you think that other people would enjoy or get insight to the things that you had to say or things you were experiencing?
Wanting to create discourse with the top leaders across different industries, and maybe create inspiration for somebody who's listening, create something that somebody could connect to, whether it's something in their childhood or something they're going through now in a relationship, to something that they want to do. I felt we have a unique network and way of communicating to people where it can create that.
Be insightful.
It can be insightful and create that touch point. And I feel that's Good Company is just in our nature.
Because the only thing better than good food is good company. Thank you guys for tuning in and learning about Jeremiah. Again, we have below in the link, there's a newsletter called The Menu, where you can find out every episode what we're giving 5 stars that week, which is our favorite items that we're using, products, restaurants, stuff like that. The Song of the Week, which Jeremiah will be curating that playlist and creating. And then Movie of the Week, which we're basically going to be alternating. But the only way to get those is by subscribing. So click the link below and you'll get the whole menu.